of you do on the regular Warchant TV YouTube channel. That's awesome and greatly appreciated. Obviously, hello to the fine folks in the chat as well. I'll be along shortly to check on you guys. Not there currently, but a good day to you and yours. Congratulations, Florida Panther fans. There you go. A back-to-back Stanley Cup champion in the state of Florida. Not unfamiliar. My goodness gracious. If you are not a fan of a team in the state of Florida, you are tired of the state of Florida. Sweet Jesus. That's 6 straight Stanley Cup finals that a Florida team has been in, and 4 of them have been won by a Florida team. 2 for the Lightning, 2 for the Panthers the last 6. That's doing some things. And a lot of people on the show here who listen to the show, watch the show, podcast the show, don't care about hockey. But that's still a pretty damn impressive run for the state of Florida. Let's just put it that way. You could, if you wanted to, Tom. I know I just got done not long ago driving back into the state of Florida from Georgia. And as I did, as we're all wont to do after a long drive, when you see the Welcome to Florida sign, you get excited to be back in the state in which you live. And now you could just put a picture of the Stanley Cup next to the state of Florida, or the orange that's next to the state of Florida. The little orange symbol, you could just have a picture of Lord Stanley's Cup. You could just have a double middle fingers Canada there for the state of Florida. Now, that wouldn't be good for tourism, because Canadians make their way down here and spend billions of dollars, and it's really what's helped make Florida over the years. So you wouldn't want to do that necessarily, but if you could find a good-natured way to make the double middle fingers Stanley Cups, right? Wouldn't that be something? They're like, oh, look at these cheeky bastards. But it would be funny. You would have to, if you had a good sense of humor, you could chuckle about it as you made your way down from Toronto.
I think if I was somebody who owned dermatology offices in Central and South Florida, I would find a way to have a billboard that has the Stanley Cup. It's been here for so long that it's getting a checkup.
Where else has it ever been?
Right?
How long have you, like if you turned your life around in a way, say you were a drug addict and now you were addicted to smoking, you could have a guy on a billboard that's like, it's been 6 years since I last had a cigarette, and in that time, I've enjoyed Florida hockey. I have had nothing but easy sailing on the nerves for teams in the state of Florida and the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know. You could do what you'd have to find a way. Nicotine free and hoisting trophies.
Well, I think Florida won it last year. It was in Game 7.
Game 7, yeah. They blew a 3-0 lead, yes.
Was it back at home? I think they won it at home last
year.
No,
I thought they had to win. Did they have to win in Edmonton last year?
Well, if they did. Okay, let's just say they won in Edmonton. What's kind of funny about this run is that means that the cup was hoisted twice in Edmonton in the last 6 years, because when Tampa won it in the bubble, it was in Edmonton, Alberta.
It was also in Edmonton, yeah.
So it's been skated around their ice surface a couple of times.
Yeah, it's as close as they've got to it. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. Florida was the deepest of the best teams, and that is for sure, and it played out that way. Hey, did we get a quarterback? Did I just see that as we're coming on the air that we got a quarterback?
The visit went very well, trending in Florida State's direction for O'Neill.
Yeah, here's the thing. You and I talked earlier today, because I have a hard time with recruiting conversations in the modern era of recruiting. And so when you take that in the way that it's changed, the shift in recruiting, when you take that and then you also add to it our woes in recruiting successfully. All right. Now that's 2 things that you have going against my conversation on the show centered around recruiting, right? So we're not good at it. The staff hasn't been, relative to the standards of recruiting at Florida State University. And the commitments don't mean what they used to. And when you get one, there's a chance that kid rides the hell out after 1 year anyhow, because of unlimited transfers. So you don't really know what you have if you have anything. All of these things add up to me going, with the recruiting stuff. But I also know that it matters and that it is vital to the success of any of the upper crust programs. And I would like us to not have to be so consistently reliant on the portal. This is what got us into trouble. It provided us some success, but the way the portal works has changed since those early successes and those home runs that Mike Norvell and staff at Tal hit on. And thus, I think you better have a pipeline of success making their way up for guys that you're going to lose in said portal or misevaluate in portal, and or at position groups that are not substantially provided with tie-in talent in the segment group. You know, we know that offensive and defensive linemen are really not readily available, not the elite, readily available in the portal typically. So you got to have some success there. And I know that in the case of quarterback, it can help fuel your success in the big picture of recruiting the high school ranks. Because once you have a name quarterback, even if we want to debate whether or not that quarterback ideally fits this system, and I think there's plenty of conversation around Mr. O'Neill not fitting Gus Malzahn's system ideally. But the point would be you got to get them, and preferably you want to get name guys, because those guys might help fuel further interest at other positions of need that you might have success in recruiting. And so therefore, yes, you arrive at the conclusion that getting somebody, because they've whiffed on the big two they were after, they've had to go to their third or fourth choice in this cycle. And that's how O'Neill came on the radar, and that's why they're going after him. And that's not to say he can't play. What is he, a 4-star? So I get it. He's evaluated highly.
Yeah, he's a top 250 player overall. He's a 4-star. And he's been somebody that has been on Florida State's radar since they lost the kid to Michigan, the Smigel kid, who when Gus took over, he didn't really like the fit of the offense. Mm-hmm. So they had a couple of visits in the winter where they're saying, are we doing this or not? Because we need to, I think all parties involved, if we don't feel great about this relationship, let's move along. And Jaden O'Neill was on the short list at that time. Now, the Keyshawn Henderson kid from Houston.
Well, that's the one that
kind of popped up out of nowhere, whenever that happened a month ago. O'Neill has been in the conversation for a long period of time because Oklahoma is also in a state of transition where new OC and
us in Oklahoma forever kind of working out deals with kids. I mean,
correct.
Yeah.
There's a 4-star they have liked for months. I'm sure that they're tired of it on their message board saying, are we going to get this Bo Bentley kid or not?
Right.
Because we have a 4-star. Are we going to lose this guy because we're hoping that we're going to land this other kid? So the dominoes fall. And right now, O'Neill getting on campus this week was a big deal for Florida State because the other dominoes had fallen off the table.
That's a familiar refrain. People who were supposed to visit didn't visit.
Correct. Well, that's how we got Sperry. Though we got Sperry because dominoes did not fall our way, and sometimes that ends up working out just fine. So that would be the potential optimist's tale.
That is an optimist way of viewing it. I would also say a realist's way of viewing it, pragmatic approach to it is, what do you expect, Jeff? They went 2-10 last year. And these are the hiccups that befall teams that, aren't any good. You get used. You get used and pitted against other teams for better offers. And if you don't like it, don't suck. That's kind of how that works. And so you can have a pragmatic conversation centered around recruiting and where you're at, what tier you're on in the world of recruiting. I lament, for example, this falls in the same category, the exact same category as people longing for 8-4. And I know that there's competing things can be true, right? And this is the frustration for somebody like me who's holding them to a much higher standard than being excited about 8-4. Doesn't mean it's not a step forward to also go 8-4 after going 2-10. I hold Florida State recruiting to a much higher standard than to be happy about certain 3-stars that you happen to win over after failing to get the bigger names on campus and or getting used and pitted against another team for money. Yet it's still important to get kids on campus and try to sign them regardless because you can't go empty-handed. So I get how it's tied together. I get it. And some people view that as pessimistic. I don't. I view it as I'm holding them to a standard. Your retort should be it's impossible for them to live up to that standard based on the season they had a year ago, Jeff. So you can't expect them to recruit like Ohio State, Georgia, etc. However, my retort would be, well, Florida went 7-5, and they're out recruiting you on the regular, and they haven't done a damn thing in several years.
Well, we got into the top 15 yesterday in the recruiting rankings with the 4-star defensive lineman Tico saying yes last night. So, and you had a 4-star receiver say yes last week. You are in line to grab a high 4-star in the On3 rankings in Chauncey Kennan.
Mm-hmm.
He's a top 50 player.
Well, he's an elite player.
You could get this kid who's a top 250 player and a solid 4-star quarterback, which would maybe entice other kids to say yes. I'm not saying all is fixed. I'm just saying that they're into the top 15. You get a couple of these yeses in short order, then you might be into the top dozen or top 10. And now at least until the on-field product sends you one way or the other, spiraling, or it trampolines you into a better place, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, it is tough. Nobody's going to, walk around the kitchen in celebratory fashion, checking on their phone over at Warchant, making sure that, this kid signed, this kind signs, and this kid's interested just yet. Because of the nature of recruiting now, you wouldn't anyhow. So I get a rather tepid and lukewarm approach to enthusiasm surrounding recruiting, no matter who we get. Because everybody knows and centers their focus, rightfully so, on the most important thing of turning all of this around and the long-term health of Florida State football and thus Florida State athletics. And that is what happens on the field come August, and we're getting close. Guys, it is, what is today? Today's June the 18th. How did that happen? June's about gone.
Yeah.
And you know what I know. I always say it to you every year. Look, man, once July hits, you're in a race car. You don't get to slow down. None of us do. We say it with regret and lament for not having done certain things when the days were dull, because that window is short. And if you don't, in our business, if you don't take advantage of it with some time off and some visits with friends and family and places you want to go with your kids or whatever it might be, once July gets here, it's a race car. And it's that way through February. Because then you're working a lot, and hey, no lament. It's beautiful. I get to talk sports for a living. I get paid to talk for a living. That's a miracle. I can't believe it's happened for nearly 30 years. I'm forever grateful. But everybody in any job, whether they love it or hate it, has busier times than others, and you got to make hay. And, once it gets going, it gets a little hectic. And I say that in a celebratory manner, meaning that I woke up today and I obviously didn't even know it was June 18th. It's June 18th, which means July is whispering in my ear, and damn it, man, here we go. That's how quick this happens.
Yeah, and I think part of it, too, is, for me, you know where I stand on this as far as the rest of this calendar year goes. Clear the fog. There's fog around the program right now. Clear it. Who's standing there? Mike Norvell or a new head coach? That's what I want to know. In the interim, when it comes to recruiting, you have to start somewhere. Do I hate that energy? Yes. But if you were doing a chore as a kid and all you did was hate on the fact that you were doing a chore, well, the experience is worse.
Anything. Yeah,
if you get lost in the chore, start to take pride in the chore. Ooh, look at that. There's a little spot I missed right there.
Yeah, mowing the lawn and mowing it with pride.
Next thing you know, you actually kind of get some satisfaction out of it.
You do.
Unfortunately, that's what we're doing right now with the recruiting process. It's a chore compared to what it used to be. And it's not just because Florida State is worse at it. It's also because the system is as nuts as it's ever been. So the meaningfulness of a commit.
Yeah, it doesn't hold the same water, yeah.
Man, we used to lament that kids don't know the meaning of commit, and it was 2015, 2016. Now, I yearn for whatever those kids thought the word commit meant versus where we live right now in the present moment.
Well, right, and there's so much angst. You still feel very much as a college football fan, not just a Florida State fan. This is as a college football enthusiast. And I think most of us, at least if you're listening to this show, are still that. Even in the wake of profound, in many cases, profoundly negative changes to the sport we love, there are some positives too. But you still find yourself in love with the sport. You still find yourself passionate about the sport. But when it's in limbo, when there are so many changes that still are yet to take place that are going to affect what you watch and how you operate, it gets tough to really wrap your arms around anything with great enthusiasm.
This is where the portal thing, you're right. Blame the portal, not NIL, the unlimited transfers. That's the difference. Because to me, all of the problems that casual fans or people who never saw behind the curtain feel in their heart right now, like that stuck feeling, anxiety-ridden feeling, that's what, when us being in the business for years.
Yeah, you knew the underbelly was ugly, sure.
Yeah, this is where for me and you and people who cover the sport, I'm happier with this because it's more honest when
I'm
it comes
happy
to the
with
money.
the idea.
Well, the implementation will take time, but I mean, what you're seeing, it's taking so long to fix this. That shows how broken it was when we were covering it for decades. You're like, man, this is all kind of on. Well, this is held together with bubble gum and glue, and this is kind of ridiculous and corrupt and nonsensical. And these kids are getting taken for a ride. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
They process them academically. They don't even care about their
whether
futures.
Or not they learn anything. Sure,
no, they don't care.
I think broader sense that's true of college in a lot of places these days, anyhow. But go ahead.
It is.
That's a different conversation.
But literally on steroids and figuratively as well for top flight athletes and top flight college football programs. So I'm glad that in the interim, if you're going to get used, you might as well get paid. And that's only right.
Take me out to dinner.
Yes. And call me back after the dinner. The portal stuff it's rough. And
it's really rough.
And the process towards collective bargaining is going to take a little bit more time. I'm happy it's getting more honest on some levels, and on other levels, I'm like, all right, just kick it off. I just want to know what the team is. I want to know what they are.
Oh, yeah, these are very different conversations. I mean, one of the things I do like, I know yesterday and the day before, like the start of this week got off to an interesting sort of talking point because our athletic director, Michael Alford, told everybody how great rev share and the House settlement was going to be because he thought it would provide a certain set of parameters that would benefit Florida State in many schools like Florida State, in college football in general. And the more cynical and jaded amongst us who had an eye towards the legality of all this said, probably not. No, probably not. This is all going to be challenged immediately. This is the very thing that got you guys in trouble to begin with, was trying to put a cap on what an athlete could make. And then you went ahead with, even after the NCAA warned you that what's happening now was going to happen if you did not make substantial changes, that it would be made for you. And now you're finally getting around to doing what they told you to do. And then the courts enforced it. And that's great. Except for we have another wave and another wave and another wave. What I would rather see, Tom, to really feel a shot in the arm of positivity towards college football for all the fans who do love it and embrace it, is more realistic dialogue than the pie in the sky. This is going to be great conversation. How about we just skip the middleman and get to what we all know needs to happen here and just get along down the line of having that conversation. Say, okay, this is a start, but it's a very minimal start. We now need to do this in order to enforce the very things that we're trying to come to a compromise on.
Totally agree. Yeah, the thing that frustrated me greatly is the first time I heard the rhetoric from Florida State's athletic department about everything's going to be fine is on a booster call. And that really bugs me because you have people who are concerned about the future of the sport, and you're telling them the sport's going to be fine. About those West Side chairbacks,
they got no. I agree with you, but they got no choice.
I know. Yes,
it's disingenuous and sucks.
Well, I could say I'm not sure what the sport's going to be, but I know we're going to be contenders in it all the while, and that's why you should invest in us rather than like it's a hard cap. I worked with the Cowboys. I know what the salary cap is. This is what I was doing. It was not sales at all. It was salary cap management. Yeah. Everything's going to be fine. Fork it over. And by the way, y'all been deadbeats for a long time because this is what Nebraska charges for 20-yard line seats.
Well,
this is what we're charging.
That's fair. But that was the first go around, even before this athletic director and before the last athletic director. That message was being sent a long time ago. It was somewhat true. And Dave Hart overhauled a lot of this for the benefit of Florida State, but used that very same rhetoric.
Yes, I'm not saying that it is unique, that talking point.
Right.
To this.
You're saying it's just applicable to almost every athletic director.
I'm saying after 2 and 10, you might want to pump the brakes on that a little bit. You got to know when to upsell. You upsell at 29 straight, and after 2 and 10, you say, "We are grateful for your consistent commitment to this program." I can't believe you
picked up the phone today, Mr. Lang.
Now we have new seats. Yours don't exist anymore.
Right. Sorry about that.
We put a hole in the side of the stadium. So about that, we really appreciate your consistent support of this program.
I really appreciate the consistent support that we're seeing now with my friends at Tried and True Consulting. They were in town last week when I was out of town. They still made hay, baby. The sun was up. They made hay. We got more ad boards up in various business about town. So whatever your business is doing and how it is that it's helping the community and making you money, providing services, that is now advertised on ad boards all around this great city of ours. It is now going to take place at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You know how many people go into Corner Pocket Bar and Grill? Everyone does at various points. And they will now see, oh, look at that. Jerry's shoes. Now, listen, I don't know. I made that up, but.
Is that Tiger Woods at the Corner Pocket? I'll have the steak bites. 2 orders of the steak bites.
But Tried and True Consulting did that for them, and they also can process your payments. And you don't really care who processes your payments so long as you're saving money and making money, right? And that it's secure, that it's done the right way. They do that as well and so much more. You can give Don, I almost said call and Don at the same time. I don't know what that would have been. That's why I had to stop. Don or Joe or Rusty a call today. I would do it. I would do it. 844-464-6653. 844-464-6653. If you want to make it easier, 844-I'm-for-Noel. There you go. And they'll give back 10% of the Battles In. Speaking of which, I'll have information about the Battles In tomorrow. Some talking points.
Okay. Everything all right?
Everything's fine. Everything's going well.
Sure about that?
I think so.
Okay.
I didn't get any indications that it wasn't okay.
Well, I wonder what this news would be then.
I'll save it till tomorrow. Surprise you. Sometimes I do it. I lay it on you right at the last minute so we can have an honest dialogue, a back and forth or something.
24-hour tease. I feel like I'm on AOL Instant Messenger back in middle school.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Water license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Porter man, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porter man, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porter man, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I suppose this is a formality, but it needs to be mentioned. Florida State will be able to fully fund more than $20 million in revenue sharing with athletes each year. That amendment passed by the Florida Board of Governors today. So that amendment was pushed by the FSU Board of Trustees Chair Peter Collins, who we all know well, and many others. Public universities in the state will temporarily be able to use up to $22.5 million in auxiliary funds each year to share money with athletes in football, men's basketball, and other sports. Auxiliary funds, and you can read this as written by our own Ira Chaffel, Warchant.com, for more in-depth detail. They come from areas such as housing, bookstores, parking fees. Those were forbidden for athletic use back in the day or prior to today. How about that? In an effort to keep state sports programs self-sufficient.
So what's interesting to me is that's $2 million over this year's allotment. Now, I know that the 20.5 is not a static number. It can go up, and it's going to go up over time.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, does this open the door legally for little things like the basketball program? You know, the university might own the building, but the funds to rent the building still have to come from athletics.
And I can go back through all of that, which I took.
But does this allow for maybe that process to just get, streamlined? Because what are we doing here? I feel like this rule or whatever happened today with the Board of Governors, I don't know if it's a rule, it's a law, it's whatever you want to call it. Something was voted on.
An approved amendment.
Yeah, an approved amendment. Okay, so this amendment is kind of in the spirit of, what are we doing here? I mean, folks, the athletic department is the university and the athletic department are all under one umbrella.
Expedite.
I mean, shoot, Florida State just changed their logo from the torches to the FSU block lettering that I had on a polo 20 years ago as a student. You don't think we're all under the same roof here?
Torches are better.
I agree. Infinitely better. That's the academic side.
It's not even close.
I'll bet you it's for embroidery. It's not as easy to put the torches on a shirt.
Goodness gracious. Florida State Athletics Director Michael Alford back in September told the university's trustees that the Noles would be forced to come up with an additional $25 million per year to cover costs associated with the NCAA House settlement. You love the genuine conversation that's being had there, don't you, Tom?
No, it's really.
As part of the settlement, schools can choose to share the maximum $20.5 million with athletes in the upcoming year, but full participation is not required. The total amount is expected to increase incrementally each year. We did bring up yesterday on headlines, and I hadn't really thought about this because I only care about us. I only care about FSU. I'm not concerned with the woes and plights of Wake Forest, Duke, and Boston College. When it comes to competing athletically, that is true. I suppose I have a higher calling when it comes to a fairness of those that participate in big-time college athletics, but I'm just a little old talk show host in Tallahassee, and it doesn't really behoove me to go ahead and have those conversations, and the ship has sailed. So I get back to caring about us kicking ass, and we're letting everybody else worry about themselves. when it comes to the distribution of money and to what level you can compete. But it is fair to ask, since you are not required to spend $22 million on your athletic departments, segments, sports, whatever, who will? Does Wake decide chips on the table? We'll spend the $20.5 million on our athletics. Or do they go, yeah, we're not going to do that. We don't have the money to do that. We're not going to give. I'll tell you what, we'll give $10 million to the football team. The rest of you suck it.
If they did that, I feel like there should be something drafted into the charter of the Atlantic Coast Conference membership plan.
That you're out.
You're out, man.
You're out. You're not trying.
You got to max out. If you want this TV revenue, we will give you the TV distribution at the percentage that you spend against the cap. Now, if you spend 100%, you get 100% of your share. If you're spending 50%,
50% of the share.
Now, I'm sure that's not legal whatsoever. But in the spirit of,
I like that you did that.
If you're going to be be collecting this, if you're going to be collecting television revenue for athletics competition, Wake Forest at a power level or Boston College, yeah, it's kind of understood that you have to spend.
I'm curious, though. I mean, this goes back to an earlier conversation when the realignment discussion was in full bore. I think we first had this discussion going all the way back to maybe the first one we had on the air had to do when Texas, Oklahoma were being sniped by the SEC, and we thought that would render the Big 12 fairly impotent. It kind of has, but anyhow, this is, and then we later on obviously what happened with the Pac-12 with the Big 10 snatching teams, but we thought that this was moving inevitably to 50, 60, maybe 70 teams that cared to play big boy sports, that were like, okay, look, man, we see where this is going. The dream is dead. The NCAA kneecapped. And this is no longer going to be what we could compete in back in the day. This is not what it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This is now something altogether different that resembles very much professional or at least semi-pro sports, and we're not equipped. Now, this gets beyond the jadedness of all of it, and this is just an honest conversation. There are many schools simply not equipped, and that is, in their mind, not the conceit, right? Like they're saying, look, we never intended this to become something akin to the CFL, the NFL, the USFL, which is what we're witnessing now. And so we're gonna go ahead and take our ball and go over here because we simply can't do it. We have an enrollment of 1,500 people, of 3,700 people. How are we supposed to compete with Ohio State given that circumstance? If we're tasked with doing that and we have a seat capacity of 32,000, we're not in it. We're not in it. So we'll go over here, and those of you who don't want to do that, who do want to keep on keeping on and play for the big boy money, you feel free, and we'll part ways, and the NCAA will govern all of those that bowed out, and the rest of us will take our money and go over here, and that group is then run by those that are part of the superpower.
The Jim Phillips of the world. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the other ones. Like the guys who took their ball and they go home. They're run by Jim Phillips.
Jim will be happy to do it, and he'll talk about the neighborhood and trash collection and all the importance of sharing.
I would volunteer for that project.
He would. And, so I do think that you could start to have that conversation, right? Like who amongst the groups that have been grandfathered in as part of these super conferences, Power 4, currently there's really a Power 2, but we get it. How many of those schools are going to say, no, does Texas State have $20.5 million? Maybe. They're going to be the newest members of the Pac-12, and they are in the state of Texas. So I guess maybe they do. It's probably a bad example. Let's use somebody else. I don't know, one of those other tiny schools that the Pac-12 just gobbled up. Do they have it?
Utah State.
Does Fresno State have it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know their situation. I wouldn't second guess a group like SMU. They're all in. Billions. 20.5, that's all you need. We got it. Make it 40.5. We're all in. Don't care. But there are plenty of others that you'd say, I don't think they're going to be in. I wonder if Wake would be in.
Well, as I understand it, in the copious amounts of literature I've read over the last year or two, I think once you opt in, you have to declare what it is you're going to spend. You don't have to spend to the maximum, but you have to declare. It's almost like you set your own rules for drug enforcement back in the day with NCAA.
And God help you if you broke your own rule,
right?
Which was always the dumbest thing in the world. Just go ahead and make the rule insane. You know what? You get 27 chances. Okay, Warren Sapp?
That's right.
You get 27 chances to fail these drug tests, and you'll probably fail all 27, you fat ass. But we're going to make sure we have you on game days.
Right. You can even throw 3 people to the ground in a hotel room.
There you go.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
No problem whatsoever.
Right.
But then you have to follow your own rules. I see a question from Brett in the chat where he says, what if you don't spend up to the 20 and a half in a given year and you spend 10? Do you get 10 the next year or 30? No, it's use it or lose it, as I understand it.
Well, that I don't know. Do we know officially that's the deal?
From the reports that I read from trustworthy people like the Dellingers of the world, it is use it or lose it on a year-to-year basis. Because
then strategy would become involved, and that would get interesting. That actually would be fun. That's a GM of a baseball team deciding to make a go of it or not based on the roster and record they have currently.
Right. So recently I read from Dellinger that it's use it or lose it.
Okay, well, there you go.
Well, I mean, think about it. The NFL salary cap doesn't work like that. There's not like, well, you had $17 million in unused cap last year, so instead of having 7, you have 34 in room this year.
You don't
doesn't
get to
work
double
like
down, no. That'd be kind of fun, though. I would like the job then. Because there'd be years where you're the devil amongst your fan base. But then you would also be a hero if you had insight and realized, and you did, and that job would be infinitely fascinating. That's you and me sitting in a room going, now look, Castellanos is what he is. I mean, who are we kidding? But that kid that's coming out next year, if we could get him,
good luck selling season tickets if people know that this is.
But that's the conversation that's had behind closed doors all the time. We wouldn't be fools enough to go out there and put our face to it and be like, well, we're opting out this year, guys. We got a also ran at quarterback. You and I both know we're not winning any championships this year. But look at that sumbitch down there in South Florida that I'm about to spend $18 million on because he's a baller, and we're winning a lot next year. So bear with me. Let's see if we can maybe make the playoff, and we are going big time after your boy. That's a fun conversation.
It would be. People would look at the roster. You don't have to say it out loud.
And I wouldn't.
Like, what kind of year is this?
This is called a middling year.
This is the Food Lion year.
We're middling, Tom. This is what have you got against the Piggly Wiggly?
This is the Czech Cola year.
Sometimes a Fanta will do you right. That would be how would you go on the booster tour with that? That'd be hilarious.
This is Captain's Crackle cereal.
Not Captain Crunch. No, it's Crackle.
I said the Captain's cereal.
Yeah,
yes, but what was that second word you said, Coach?
You didn't say anything about Crunch. Well, if you like, it could be the berries. Is that Crunch berries? It could just be the berries this year, guys.
Captain Crunch. No, everybody. It's Captain. He's trying to get away with something. CAP''N.
How great would that be to be on that tour? You know, when you'd get home from school back in the day and you were hoping mom was making steak with some potatoes. You can't always have steak and potatoes now, can you? Sometimes it's tuna noodle casserole. That's what you got on a Wednesday night. What, are you going to throw it in the garbage and not eat your tuna noodle? You got to eat, guys. You got to eat. Sometimes tuna noodle is what's necessary for filet mignon the very next day. In this analogy, I think you all know that the next day is next year. And filet mignon we will eat. Speech, here we go.
As for me, Coach, the tuna noodle, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to go home and eat some graham crackers. That's going to be my dinner this year.
They're delicious. Do what you got to do to get by, but don't come back for a slice of that filet mignon next year with your bitch ass. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A motorcyclist was seriously injured in another driver's... active investigation. No arrests have been made at this time. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 92 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunderstorms. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance for storms, lows around 74. Cloudy skies tomorrow, thunderstorms likely, highs around 91. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 91 degrees.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I'm just now getting around to the chat, and I see, Tom, that you've added to the conversation here with a egregious post, which is that you think that Pib is better than Pepper. Now, I don't drink. I don't drink.
Unless there are specials.
I don't drink either anymore, but when I was a kid and did, that's a crazy take on your part. The Pib is ass.
That's not true.
The Pib is cheeks. Man. It's cheeks.
It's not. Mr. Pibb is infinitely superior to the Dr. Pepper.
No, it's not.
Oddly enough, Diet Dr. Pepper is the only diet soda that's better than its normal predecessor.
No, that's not true either.
That tells you how sorry Dr. Pepper is.
This is a tragic take. This is right up there with you don't like ice cream or cheese. All three of those are egregious. It's just who you are, and I love you. But I'm just letting you know.
Mr. Pibb, which is now known as Pibb Extra, is far superior.
Do they even make it? Can you find Pibb anywhere? I've never even seen it.
I haven't purchased a Pibb or a Pepper in some time. But I did know that.
Can you give me a Pibb or a Pepper?
Right. Well, as my dad used to say, Mr. Pips root beer.
Mr. Pips.
He called it Mr. Pips.
And it's not root beer.
And it's not root beer. No. We were stuck at the Burger King drive-thru for 5 minutes.
Can I get a Mr. Pips?
Can I get a Mr. Pips root beer? And the person's like, sir, we have Mr. Pibb or Barg's root beer. Which would you like? Yeah, the Mr. Pips root beer.
They don't exist. Kent at Ohio, Buccaneer Chris.
I think it's the first time I ever howled laughing as a little kid. What are you doing, Dad?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Pibb.
I knew somebody would come in here and do the right thing. They pointed out that Diet Mountain Dew is also better than Mountain Dew. And that is, I think, universally accepted. Good job, Knowles fan. Somebody in here wanted us to, they love the show, clearly. They wanted us to just stream the 7-on-7. I would say that I wish we were. My son is playing in that and is so far 20 for 20 with a couple touchdowns.
In terms of targets to catches?
Targets to catches.
There
He's
you go.
20 for 20. Oh, 3 touchdowns. I was corrected. So he's having a good day. He's not hard to spot. Hopefully he continues to play well. We'll see. That's not a great team, but hopefully he'll do some good work.
Ryan's with me. He says Pibb is 2023 FSU. Dr. Pepper is 2024. Outstanding.
Well, the debates are going now. This is the wrong direction that we've gone. Brett says, I love Dr. Pepper, but Diet Dr. Pepper is the worst soft drink in the history of the world. It's worse than bug juice you got at summer camp.
Oh, my.
Brett, I seem to remember you're old as hell.
That's yep.
And if that's the case, then you're the only one knowing what the hell bug juice is. Nobody else had it. And I love you, Brett. That is said lovingly. That is, yeah.
Marty, we did the segment last week.
I already did it. We went through like 20 Dublin pubs for you. That's how we went into no fewer than 20 pubs, and I think we listed each and every one of them.
Dawson Lounge, Whelan's.
Oh, on and on. Brazen Head, all of it. We go
JJ, whatever his name is.
Forget about it.
The Thomas More Inn. JJ Grogan's? Yeah, Grogan's.
David says you can find the Pibb at Whataburger. It's the day you originally asked about the pubs.
Yeah, I think we wiped the question up.
Yes, read it on air, everything. I can't help you if you're not paying attention.
You know what? Mr. Pibb and Whataburger, that's a collision course that's in my life over the next month. I get 3 or 4 burgers a year.
You're going to feel like dirt. You're going to feel dead. You're going to eat that burger, and then you're going to drink that sorry Pibb, and the next day you're going to be like, I should not have done this.
I'll do that a day that I know I'm golfing so I can sweat it all out. Jalapeno bacon burger. Here we go.
Oh, man. Hillbilly Reefer, I should have guessed you knew what the hell bug juice was.
That's a real thing.
We're getting sidetracked now because I don't often dip my toes into the chat, but I did just now, and I'm laughing about all this.
Robert is my peer. Those are my times. Surge WCW versus NWO, big New Yorker pizza from Pizza Hut, which was not good, but we ordered it. And yeah,
yes.
1999.
Well, so by the way, Surge back in the day, I remember the day they came out. I got a Surge. And Surge was in the category of many other soft drinks that came out around that time, which might as well have said death on the side of them. Here you go, kids. Drink 4 of these and enjoy the afterlife. It was insane. What were they doing?
Oh, man. They were feeding
rubber stamping pure sugar and nicotine and caffeine. Here you go. Have fun with it.
As Robin Williams once famously said in a movie, oh, that's the good stuff.
Jolt Cola. I remember Jolt.
Surge was the best. They had the kid from the Big Green and the Sandlot. Yeah. He was their front man, and he screamed Surge at the top of his lungs.
Shannon Young's good at his job, and I tell you about him often, but I don't want to get through this hour without telling you about him again. Better options when you go through my man Shannon. Better rates, a much faster response. Better than most. Better than most. He's in 7 states: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. I know him personally, and that's why I don't mind certainly endorsing the hard work and expertise that he possesses, the energy and the passion, unwavering commitment. He will help you, his fellow Noles, get the best loan options to buy a new home, and you can do it right now. Loansfornoles.com is where you go. Loansfornoles.com is where you go. Jeff, have you ever had a wild tiger, legitimately caffeine and nicotine? No, I've never had a wild tiger. Now, listen, those of you longtime listeners on the show know is that I was once a fan. Well, I am still a fan of caffeine. I drink 2 massive cups of coffee every morning, and that's never going to change. As far as the nicotine, I took it down the road from nicotine about 20 years ago, maybe more. Maybe 19 years ago. 19 years ago is when I stopped.
Yeah, you were
18 and a half years ago. 18 and a half years ago is when I stopped. I like to round up when it's something that I stopped doing that I should have stopped doing. Yeah.
Yeah, you were on to the ginger dip when I was interning in 2000.
Is that right? I had moved on. I was in the throes of addiction when I was on the ginger dip because that's a desperate man. You're dipping ginger.
Yeah. It was the ginger dip. You had the same Gatorade bottle. It was nasty. But I remember sitting there. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's ginger dip. I've kicked a habit.
I'm trying to kick a habit. Yeah.
Now give me that report on Wake Forest top 3 returners. Okay. All right.
No.
Well, they were good in those days.
Yeah, they were. The ginger dip. I don't even know if you can still find that dip anymore. I used to get mad at the gas stations around here because some of them would have it and some of them would have. Was Smoky Mountain? Was that the name of it?
Oh, I forget. There was one that was a tiger. It had a tiger on it. But there was a specific
everything
shell.
under the sun at one time or another, sir.
There was a specific shell that you liked for that, as I recall.
I used to get after the Copenhagen, Kodiak, you name it, Skull, all of it.
Give me a pouch.
I didn't really like the pouches, though. I needed the hard stuff. I wanted the hard stuff. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Present Tallahassee.
Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Jacksonville Jaguars general manager James Gladstone went on Sirius XM NFL radio, and he was asked about rookie Travis Hunter, and he essentially said that they believe Hunter could play an entire game on both offense and defense. The way he has conditioned his body, basically, he does not wear down, and they feel very comfortable being able to do that. We'll see whether or not it plays out that way or not. The Tampa Bay Rays, they lose to the Baltimore Orioles yesterday by a 5-1 score. Series does continue tonight. Taj Bradley on the mound. He's 4-5. The Miami Marlins, they end a 5-game home losing streak, defeating the Phillies yesterday 3. That series continues today as well. And the Florida Panthers, they beat Edmonton yesterday to win the Stanley Cup for a second straight year. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years, guaranteed, on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mixed bag on that Pib take there, Tommy. I figured that was the way it was going to be. that's the way it works when it comes to soda love or anything else. But I look at it as an egregious take. But I'm proud that you felt comfortable enough to share that.
Yeah, initially I thought maybe I should describe it as a courageous take, but I don't think it takes courage to speak facts in situations like this.
I went with egregious, you went with courageous.
Yeah. If you could only have for your treat, right? Because I know we used to go.
if it was a different, yeah.
You got debt?
Yeah.
We go downtown for lunch every once in a while at the old place of employment, and you would get a root beer specifically.
Once in a great while, that was my one. Yes, I would give into the root beer occasionally.
Root beer or cream soda. You can only have one for the rest of time.
They're the two. Those are like I was able to cast off soda a long time ago, but when I break, it's for one of those two. Honestly, I got your cream soda there, and I mean old school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
the old IBC cream
that's
soda.
like me taking it out to Bradley's and getting the cream soda in the ice box.
Oh yeah,
forget about it.
Yeah,
it's. I can't even walk in there without going. Oh,
I remember the first time I had cream soda,
and you thought, "What are we doing here?"
My Grammy.
Of course, your Grammy gave you a cream soda.
Yeah.
That's exactly who would give you one.
She had a voice style that sounded like Willem Dafoe. And so every time I hear Willem Dafoe, I think of my Grammy. Anyway, she goes, "You want a cream soda?" I was like, "What's that, Grammy? What's that?"
I want one.
And I remember tasting going, "Whoa." She goes, "It's pretty good, isn't it? Here's really some more cream soda."
If you just jumped on board, Florida State looks like they're in good shape for 4-star quarterback Jaden O'Neal. Great visit. Nothing official yet, but it looks like Florida State may have a yes from the 4-star quarterback at some point. Again, I've described what this means in terms of the way I view recruiting these days. You could do the same when you're looking at trying to get a 4-star flip from Madden Williams, or whether you are excited about Tico Crittenden. That it's better to have the yeses than not. It certainly improves the look of the place. It's like people were driving past Florida State and it was looking a little shabby. Looks like they have forsaken their yard duties. Is Florida State ever going to edge? I live in this neighborhood too. Can we get the weed eater out? Is he sick? Should I go over there and do this for him? It's not that hard to edge and weed eat. Does he need a little help? So now at least it looks like, you're edging. You're mowing the lawn a little bit. You got some things going well, Let's trim those trees in the back. Looking a little spotty, a little dilapidated. You look lazy. Let's get those trees trimmed up. That deck needs to be replaced. You got wood rot. I can go to Lowe's and get you some wood, bring it back. You tell me what you need. Let's get this thing done. Let's clean it up around here. And maybe Jaden O'Neal and Tico. Does he go by Tico?
Yeah.
So, maybe guys like that will help you feel like you're cleaning it up. Brandon Bennett. Oh, they edged today. They got Brandon Bennett. That kind of a thing.
Chauncey Cannon.
Hey. That's a big one. That's where you have replaced the deck and you're doing, okay, now they're committed. Now they're committed to playing big boy, keep our house up in the neighborhood games.
If I was going to get a lawn gnome, that would have been the lawn gnome I got.
We didn't talk, you and I didn't, about the Lavalley kid, the Noah Lavalley kid, the brother of the other Lavalley.
That's right.
Who I like.
Yeah, I agree. I like, in theory, what he is. I know he played well in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Be nice to know what he is, and we're going to find out this season.
He's a linebacker.
That's right.
And he's going to get some opportunities because we don't have a lot of them.
About 6'1", 228, according to Florida State's
Let's
website.
see what we got.
How did I know that? Because I wanted to see if his brother was about the same size, and 6'2", 220 is what Noah, the high school kid, is.
Apparently, Noah is the better of the athletes.
Interesting. Well, he's taller at 17.
He's 6'2", 220, and all right. So you got time. I mean, at that size, buddy, that's not bad. In the 3.35, we'll see where, kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, I asked Michael in the commit video for Lavalley about how many linebackers should we expect every cycle now? Because if you're trying to run a 3.35, I'm sure that this is different. And he thinks 4 or 5 a cycle might be where they are.
I feel like we should just keep on recruiting those linebackers because we haven't had good ones in forever and a day. We had some adequate to slightly above average, very briefly, a snapshot.
Yep.
Tatum Bethune. Good on you, Tatum. Coming over from UCF after playing there for 32 years and then coming here as you entered your 40s and having a good, solid run.
Deloach made some plays too, but Bethune was the better player.
Much better player. Deloach will be famous for one thing, and thank goodness for that thing. That rush, delayed as it was, some say suspiciously so, but creating that turnover and then taking it to the hizzy will forever endear him in the hearts of Noles everywhere, as it should.
Probably a Platinum Bohica saving moment.
Yeah, I think so. And even then, we probably should have been Bohica'd. I mean, they missed
a kid with a foot.
They missed a chip shot field goal.
Find a kid who has a good foot.
And they had a quarterback inexplicably just ad-lib on their 3rd and an inch or 4th and an inch.
This will single-handedly be the best story of the weekend after this kid makes this.
Suck it. See what happens? You go grab a kid in an apartment from New York?
I was trying to aim for an SP, clearly.
There's a story to be told how a guy went from high on our list of likable to, God almighty, I can't stand to hear your voice.
McDonough?
No, it wasn't. You did it as just now. You did it as Joe Testator.
Oh, well.
You were in Testator mode.
Yes. McDonough called the play.
McDonough's good at his job.
Yes.
But sometimes, I get it. Yeah, he was trying to feed a narrative there. That's fair of you to point out. It seemed like something Testator would do.
How in the world? That's usually, You add about 20% of Tirico, keep the voice low, and that's the Testator area.
I will tell you that I continue to marvel at the excellence of one Mike Tirico. He's insanely good. Insanely good. I pay close attention to just like the subtle things. I think one of the hardest things in broadcasting, and I've had to do this before, not to the extent that these guys do, but when you're forced to do a segment because of a sponsor, it's the most disingenuous. It's the worst segment you could ever do. I'm not talking about a fixed position feature, which is fun to do, in which somebody says, I want to be part of your show. Can we sponsor an element? How do we make it flow within the show? That's very different because that is part of the show, happens to be a part of a show that's sponsored, and that's easy because it flows because you're doing something like you would already be doing. You're talking about the sport, the game, whatever the take might be. But when you're in the middle of a sporting event and you have to sit down with a CEO, shoot yourself in the face. It's the worst. Oh, hey, Bob, good to have you on board. Can I kill myself? Because now I have to sit here and talk about your firm, your whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous. And
I've heard you got a really interesting report for the shareholders in quarter 3.
Yeah. Tell our national audience all about it. It's the worst. And yet he is so good. He had me locked in. Oh, what does he say about the community outreach program they have? It is so good. Seamless.
Hello, Karen. I've heard that this year you crossed over $300 million in money you've given back to the community.
And when he does it, he actually listens to what this shill of a human being has to say. He is like intently locked in so that he can then seamlessly segue to a real question, which I'm like, oh, what's happening? This is crazy. He acts like he cares.
As I understand it, you've also committed to the USTA for another 5 years.
It is impressive, Tom. Nobody does it better, and it comes across as completely. I'm like, Mike, I almost wanted to reach out.
He sticks the landing always too.
Always.
He'll look back in. Dan, we go back to 14, and you're like, wow.
It's perfect.
Okay.
If I were mocking this as an SNL skit, I would do that. The difference is he's asking real questions as if he cares. He takes the step. It's not because the joke is that generally speaking, they don't care. They have to get from point A to point B. And so it's sort of, all right, I'm going to ask you about your CEO. I'm going to ask you about the money you gave to charity this year. And then I'll ask you about, what this tournament means to you. We good? That's how that goes. But not Mike. He's like, please answer honestly. I care deeply.
Is it true that 1,500 young golfers hit their first tee shots because of you this year?
How many lives have you saved? It's impressive. It's very, very impressive. We're 65 days and 22 hours away from the start of college football. Sorry, just needed a right-hand turn. As it also should be pointed out, we had questions that we brought up last hour and talked a little bit about recruiting and the visitors and all the things, but I do want to direct your attention to Ross Dellinger's piece from yesterday. You can go to the college football section and you'll see his piece, and we can talk about elements of this, Tom, but that headline that you'll see is college football's calendar needs an overhaul. Would a single transfer portal help? Yes, it would. I'm going to answer the question, Ross Dellinger. Yes, it would. Sports leaders are torn on how to handle the transfer portal moving forward, but they're on the clock after the House settlement decision. And apparently, Tom, for starters, this has been expedited much more so than we realized. Like they need to know pretty much now.
Real things are happening.
Real things
that will affect the way we consume the sport and cover the sport. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not about, rules on the clock and the fourth quarter stoppages. This is about when is the portal going to occur, recruiting, signing days, moving things months from where they currently are in the calendar that could drastically change. People have been clamoring for example,
a
signing period for high school athletes in the summer.
Yes.
Jimbo asked for that years and years ago.
Well, June has turned into the most important month.
Correct. And it used to be January.
Correct. So you might as well get with the getting. We know the deal here, boys.
Right. So there could potentially be a signing day that occurs in August, which would really simplify things. It would be an early signing period. You could take on campus visits if you don't have your decision in place. But you could lock in with a signature and an agreement to the financial agreement that the university is going to pay out in terms of the revenue
from the revenue distribution. Yes, not the NIL. Yeah,
no, the rev share as it's called. So you get your rev share agreement with the university locked in. Okay, I don't have to worry about 60 or 70% of my recruiting class into the season. I can now focus on the other players, the big names that are left on the board. And then when it's time to go focus on transfers, I can focus on them at a completely different time of the year. So we don't ever have to live through a December again that involves on-campus high school visits, on-campus portal visits, bowl practices, and coaching changes all at the same time while there's a playoff going on. That's what we've been living the last couple of years, and they're trying to fix that, and they might be able to do it in the next few weeks.
Wouldn't that be something? We have clamored for that. I would love for there to be one transfer portal window and one window only. I'd love for the signing day to be sped up into June, like you've talked about, like we just talked about. Those two things, good. Let's get on with it. Start the season earlier as well, which I do think is on the table and I think will happen.
Yeah, you've got to land the plane for your semifinal on January 1st.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl is going to be forever in this damn conversation. Fine. Then let's play the game on January 1st every year and make that be your Final Four.
Yeah, you don't want to be going up against the NFL playoffs, and you certainly don't want to have what happened last year, which is the bastardization of Army-Navy.
Yes.
That's got to go. Can't do that.
Well, you've got both of those things happening, and then also based upon the calendar and the way it falls in a given year where New Year's Day is, they played a playoff game, college football playoff game, on every day of the week last year.
Yes.
That can't happen, man.
No.
There has to be some uniformity to it. And that would, again, it would help the way that people consume the data too, because then you'd have a time to look forward to. It doesn't mean that signing day in August will be like it used to be in February, but it won't be like it has been the last couple of years, which is an oh, by the way event. They really need to prop up their major events in different parts of the year like the NFL has done for a long time.
Let's see if they get it done. By the way, our friends at Factor doing it up with summer here. It is, look, you got more time to do things because you got more light outside. You can get in, get out, do stuff, have fun, go out places with your kids. They're out and about. If you got kids my age or kids my kids' age, if you got kids my age, you're hanging on for dear life. Like, meaning if you're my age and if the kid is my age, you're damn near death. I mean, as a parent, you're close.
So I know this is a read, but just a question. So I've got my nephew coming to town for a week.
Yes.
And he is 16. And
buddy, forget about it.
He's 6'3", 6'2", 6'3".
Eat, always eating.
How much money should I be spending on the groceries before he gets here?
So look, here's the deal. Honestly, and this works perfectly because it's a true story. I've got many mechanisms to try to keep up with how much my kids eat. One of them is 17. The other one just turned 15. They're both growing like weeds. It's crazy. They're active. Part of that is my subscription to Factor. I get, how many meals do I get? I think it's 12 or 13 meals each Tuesday. So I spend a good amount of money each week on Factors, and I'm happy to do it because, first of all, they're delicious. They're nutritious. They're perfect for on the go. And you heat them up. They're pre-cooked, prepared by a chef. You heat them up in 2 minutes. You eat delicious. You can go whatever diet you want. If you're a keto person, all protein person, if you're a vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever you want to do, they got those meals for you.
Their honey mustard chicken with green beans is
very good.
Really good.
Yeah. No, I like the vast majority of the offerings. And the box comes freeze-dried. You're set. Throw it out in your garage, freezer, or fridge. You're all set to go. But you're out the door. Delicious stuff. And I'm saving you money if you want to do it and you want to try it. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, this is what you do. Factormeals.com/Cameron50 off. Use code Cameron50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Give it a go. That's code Cameron50 off at factormeals.com/Cameron50 off. It's the number 50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Cameron50 off. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs. From the fairway to the fire pit, we've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Are you sporting around with a cracked windshield? That's not your car's way of showing character. At Seminoles Auto Glass, we replace busted glass faster than you can say, was that a rock, a bird, or a banana? We'll help you with your claim. We offer mobile service, and we promise zero judgment, no matter how that crack got there. Just go to SeminoleAutoGlass.com or give us a call at 850-539-4527. 850-539-4527.
Duct tape is not a long-term solution.
Better call Seminole.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Didn't get to a couple of contributions here, and I apologize for that. I always like to make sure I'm somewhat timely with that. So I saw it during the break. Scotty, FSU, weighed in and asked a question. Appreciate you, Scotty. Jeff, I read a rumor on David Ross taking over as the Braves manager next season. I know you're friends with Ross. Wanted to get your thoughts. Well, I would love that for David if it were to happen. He has not mentioned it to me. I'd be lying if I told you that he had. We ran into each other the other day at the gym, and we were talking a little bit about a lot of different things, and that subject didn't come up. I know David does some broadcasting work occasionally for, I think it's Apple TV when they have the game. He's done, I've heard him on there anyhow, and, he's a baseball lifer. I'm sure, David, if you're listening, text me, David. I don't have any idea. I doubt he's going to tell me that he's getting the job with the Braves while there's a sitting manager. That would be unbecoming. But yeah, it's been a rough go so far for Atlanta this year, but this season's not over. It's a long year. It's a long year, and a lot of times, hell, ask Rafael Devers, who started his season 0 for 20 with 15 strikeouts. Things have taken quite the turn. He ended up being one of the best hitters in the American League this year, and then probably shipped off to San Francisco, etc.
What you needed, Braves fans, was not to have a bases clearing 2-out, 2-strike double from Ozuna last night. Lose to us again.
And then you fire him, yeah.
Yeah, and then David's named the interim manager, and he's driving up from Tallahassee. That's what you needed. But
I think they already hired the interim manager. He's now coaching third base.
Oh, that's right.
But
they did bring that guy in.
Yeah.
The Marlins former manager.
He's good manager, good coach. But yeah.
Freddie Lopez?
Yeah, and he's I don't think it's Lopez. Go ahead and double check it, everybody, because all of a sudden Tom got me.
Sorry.
But
Freddie Gonzalez.
Yeah, Freddie Gonzalez, right. Freddie's good and well respected. But when they brought him in, I was like, ooh. I think if you're the manager, that's an interesting decision from management at that point. That's a toughie.
So through my sleuthing and doing day counting, does Skeens pitch every fifth day regardless of days off, or is it every fifth game?
No, I think it's every fifth day.
If it's every fifth day and the rest of the rotation be damned, he'll pitch Sunday in Pittsburgh.
While we're there.
If he pitches every fifth game, he'll pitch Monday against the Cardinals the next night after we leave.
After we leave?
Yep.
Well, we'll wait and see. All I know is that whenever he pitches, we can't score. So get ready for whatever you guys score to be the total number of runs scored, because we don't do it. Cal Raleigh with a 6 RBI performance and a grand slam, leading the Mariners to victory yesterday. Just should point out that Cal Raleigh is insanely good at baseball, and it's just cool to have one of our own out there whooping that ass over and over and over again. In his career, Cal Raleigh has 15 multi-homer games.
Oh, wow.
I remember when Cal Raleigh was being recruited, Mike Martin Jr. talked to me about Cal and said, look, he's got all the tools to be really, really good. They were excited about him. He dealt with a bit of an injury while he was here, but then he had that great season. So you did get a glimpse of what he could be. And he's a hoss now. When you see him in a uniform, you realize it's a big kid or a grown man now. But I don't know that even as high as they were on Cal, he's got 60 RBIs currently. 60. We're not at the All-Star break. I don't know that they thought he would be this. It's hard to project this.
No. Well, I mean, look, he has 2 more home runs through this amount of games played than any other catcher in history.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, you would think he'd be one of the above average hitting catchers in the game. And he'd give you more than that, but that's certainly, the separator for him is that he's going to be top 10% of catchers in the game in terms of hitting. Not fastest to 26, 27 home runs of any catcher in the history of
baseball.
Yeah. And his barrel rate is top 3 last I checked in baseball. The RBI count, as you're talking about, 60. He's on pace for over 50 home runs. I mean, this is an absurd season. Johnny Bench has called Cal Raleigh his favorite player to watch, which is also very cool.
Sometimes I forget Johnny Bench is still alive.
And then you hear a Blue Chew ad.
Or a Blue Emu.
Blue Emu. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say very different things. One's a lubricant.
The other burns.
Oh, man. I was looking at more wagers for the upcoming college football season. I told you that I put some pizza money on Clemson to win the national title. I got huge odds at plus 1,400 at the time. If you take them to just make the playoff, you'll get them at BetMGM for minus 140. But you know who I went back to just to take a look at it? Utah, Tommy. Utah to make the playoff.
This is your state. This is the state of your betting empire, is the state of Utah.
The Utes ranked 127th out of 134 teams in opponent adjusted per play, EPA. They had 22 giveaways in 12 games. They were one of the worst units in the country on third down. They were awful in the red zone. My man Whittingham told Andy Ludwig, get the hell out of my face. You're doing a terrible job. Cam Rising, injured in perpetuity, retired from football. So we've got a new quarterback, former Lobos quarterback, Devin Dampier, and brought in an overhaul on the offense. You've got a hard-nosed coach that wants to get back to a certain style of play. And I think when you look at the schedule, you can go, all right, we'll pitch some money at plus 520 for the Utes to make the playoffs.
Okay. 5-1. More places at the table. I kind of freeze when I hear somebody to make the playoff because my brain doesn't go to 12 yet. But when you think about it that way.
Yeah, there's 12 places. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. They could do it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's kind of fun. It's fun this has taken the place of the system. The system normally, for new listeners of the show, the system was where I used to go out to Borders Bookstore when they still existed, and I'd grab all of the magazines. I'd grab copious amounts of coffee. I'd sit in the corner away from people.
You ever sneak a flask in there to
No. It was always kind of morning to mid-afternoon in the week. I like to cozy up every now and again, but not on a Tuesday at noon while I'm reading about football. So I kept it together. But I would drink a lot of coffee, and I'd sit in the corner, and on those days I dipped, and I'd have to sneak them because it's frowned upon to be dipping in the bookstore, but I did. And I would sit in the corner and read upon, segments and conferences and, who was where. That's what we did pre-internet, kids. And I loved it. And I would jot my notes. And, of course, back in those days, you'd get your Phil Steele to go along with all the other magazines, of course. And when I first started getting the Phil Steele stuff, they're what on a full moon? That's amazing. 27 of their last 28 on a full moon in the month of November. Look at this upset win. All that stuff. And it was a great system. I enjoyed it. It was just part of diving into college football and readying yourself for the season. You don't have to do that anymore. And I miss those days. You can do it now on the internet, obviously, and have a little fun with it, but it's a different deal. But I'm beginning the process again. Not quite the old system, but a system nonetheless. And I do it around gambling to some extent, not even to make bets, although if you happen to come across one that you like, great, you can act now. But also just a reminder of, oh, yeah, that's right, that kid transferred. That kid's the new quarterback at Utah and not the quarterback that was at, whatever I just said, Fresno State. So, yeah.
So the SEC meetings, for example, are the week of the All-Star game, the week before the ACC meetings in Charlotte, or kickoff, I should say. I did enjoy for a long period of time, like you're speaking on, just getting the team notes, like the actual ones from Sports Information.
Oh, yeah. Loved it.
Those are the weeks and those are the parts of the year where the notes are the most important for football. Once you get into the season, now you usually read through those on a game day and you can get the information about the opponent, which is fun. But like if you go into Florida State's game notes for game 6 of the year for football, I don't know, man. I mean, it's mostly the same stuff. It still has the season preview stuff in there. But when it's all brand new in July and you're looking at the roster, and one of the things that is always fun when Florida State releases those notes is you see the heights and the weights, how much work have these kids done. It's like when you hit the button playing through in college football, the old NCAA, and it's like, here are your upgrades year over year. It's like, all right, I really banked on this freshman running back
kid
making a jump.
He's a +4, all right.
Yeah. He went from 87 overall to 91. And
That's
you're like,
a game
why?
changer. We can get to the outside.
Why did he go to 91? Acceleration 99? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's where you get into those game notes for all of your opponents. And I'm looking at NC State, who I never know a thing about until I read their notes in July. This
They're
year
a
is
great mystery. Yeah.
Other than I hear that they're not going to be very good. Yeah, you get knee deep into that stuff.
It's
good.
Yeah, it is fun. You can start doing the game on paper stuff now. You can start looking into stats from the year before, these transfer players, what offenses. Yeah, this is.
Like you can go to ourlads.com right now and take a look at it too deep, but still there's something to have in the notes.
Yeah, and if you do, I haven't been to Our Lads in a while, but if you do go to Our Lads here, hold on. One of the problems they have is in the era of the transfer portal, man, it is tough. I'm just pulling it up now. Yeah, good. They got Deuce. They got our guys here. I always want to know who's the one updating this. This was last updated in April at 2:13 p.m. And it was at that time that they had Wayne McCoy as one of the starting receivers. He might be. Who knows? But I think they look like they got the offensive line right. Hanson, Leonard, Pettibone, Medley, Pettis.
Yeah, it's a twofold question for the offensive line. The first question is, do you think all four transfers start? You think they all do?
I'm rooting for the problem Andre Otto, our guest that we had on recently, is that isn't he competing for the same position as Richie Leonard?
Well, that's okay. So part one is, do you think all 4 of the transfers start? And Medley would be the obvious candidate. That's what that question is. Do you think Adrian Medley is going to start for you?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then it comes down to Richie Leonard, Andre Otto, Jake Rizzi, I think, for that last interior guard spot.
Yeah, I'm putting Rizzi behind Otto and Leonard. I could be wrong.
We were talking about this on the Smash on Monday. Ira is the only guy who has Rizzi in his top 40.
You got a thing for Rizzi, huh?
He's got him at 26.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to be heavily in that rotation.
I think it was a desperation move on Ira's part. I think you're running out of players.
Nobody else had Rizzi ranked.
No.
So
they did not.
Much like if Lester has a season, Gene Williams gets a jersey. I think if Rizzi's good, then Ira gets a jersey.
Lester has the season that Gene thinks he's going to have. Gene is now nicknamed Nostradamus. Lester there's no reason to believe him to be ranked 17th.
I think it has a royalty name to it. Gene Charles Lester Williams. You're like, oh man, that guy
Nostradamus over here has got Lester at 17th.
The Earl of Sandwich.
Go get you one of them cold tubs. You can right now at Pinch a Penny. The plunge can be made into the cold tub. That's right. The best in the business, which, again, they've got unbelievable amount of hot tubs, if that's what you're after. And, Hot Springs makes the best that there is. But now they make cold tubs, too. And cold tubs are a big part of a lot of people's fitness regimen. And speaking of the aforementioned David Ross, he does one every morning. He just got done telling me that. Oh, man, that's a bit much every morning. 46 degrees, 47 degrees every morning.
He's getting ready for that Atlanta media market.
Oh, man. David's still in great shape, but golly, that's a bit much. Anyhow, I understand the literature, the science behind it. I understand that they've come a long way in understanding it and how much it helps. But I also understand that people at Pinch a Penny, when they think of Pinch a Penny off of Greer Road, they think of hot tubs, but just know they've got the cold plunge tubs ready to go out the door. Come over, set it up for you. It is sanitary. They got it all set. I'm thinking about getting one. Pretty cool stuff there. Go check them out. Check them out for yourself off of Greer Road. Like I said, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. And, it's a kind of a fun conversation. When you go over there, you see these things could fit easily on the aforementioned deck that I was talking about FSU needing to get fixed. Right there. I got a spot for it at my house.
Maybe they'll have them in the luxury seating areas.
Man, it's going to be, 100 degrees for the Alabama game, 98 degrees for the Alabama. That cold tub would get work.
So I'm going in for the first half. I'm going to see what this all about.
Oh, look at this guy.
I got invited.
By whom?
Spartanal, Ralph.
He wants you to go sit with him?
He's got an extra ticket. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So for the first half, I said, second quarter, late-ish, I got to get back to get ready for the post-game show. But he's like, it'd be great. Sit with us for the first half.
Spartanal, make sure you feed him a bunch of beer. Get him lubered up. Get him ready to go.
Welcome in to the Warchant.
You got a whole second half, buddy. You'll be fine. You got plenty of time. Plus post-game when Mike's talking about the big win. You got that celebratory moment. You let it breathe a little bit before you and Gene come on. Watch some of the other games.
After Charles Lester has 2 picks, 1 for a touchdown.
Man, and Gene had time to go out and buy a jersey at half. Took it over to Garnet and Gold, where you cannot find a Charles Lester jersey.
He'd get one screen printed right then and there.
Screen printed, that's right.
Tara, open up the bag. Give me the Lester.
That's good. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Saturday's No Kings protest at the Old Florida State Capitol Museum proved to be mostly peaceful and did not disrupt traffic flow. However, one counter-protester was taken into custody by a Capitol police officer after an exchange with a protester. Court records identified the counter-protester as Daniel Hernandez. Hernandez's arrest came after police said an officer observed him in an argument with a protester. The protester was recording Hernandez as he walked away. He then became irate and turned towards the protester and began approaching while yelling. Then he willfully and intentionally hit the protester's phone out of their hand, causing it to fall into the middle of South Monroe Street. Officers separated the protester and Hernandez just before placing him into custody. He is being charged with simple battery. Hernandez was the only person arrested during the No Kings protest in Tallahassee. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 92 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunderstorms. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance for storms, lows around 74. Cloudy skies tomorrow, thunderstorms likely, highs around 91. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 88.
On the front lines, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Oster with America in View.
Matt, Florida has become the world leader for freedom, and I love being in the studio with you every week where we are reinforcing the conservative movement with truth, the Constitution, and a little redneck common sense. We're waking the woke.
That's right, Brett. We enjoy talking politics and what's going on in the world. We're bringing our take on the issues, doing our best to fight for freedom.
So tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. on Real Talk 93.3.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
No.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Man. Somebody on Twitter came at me and said that because I'm sure they heard me talking about your take about the Pib and the pepper. No, this person said there isn't a worse take out there than Jeff Cameron Show saying Dunkin' Donuts are superior to Krispy Kreme. I'm writing back, it's not even close. It's not an argument. Dunkin' Donuts is so much better than Krispy Kreme. They make Krispy Kreme should close. They're so bad compared to Dunkin' Donuts. They don't deserve to be in the same sentence. Where they're sorry ass.
I've got a meeting with local Krispy Kreme. I'm kidding. I heard that yesterday when I was driving around.
Here's the thing. If all you want is a glazed donut, then fine, take it on over there to that very, very, very limited selection.
Crispy
and enjoy your sorry glazed donut. But glazed is a terrible donut, first of all. It's not a top 50 donut. There are so many better donuts. Where to even start? Hell, old-fashioned donuts are better than glazed donuts. But you can go on and on about this. I mean, get the apple cinnamon-filled one. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. We go on and on and on. Every donut's better than the glazed donut at Krispy Kreme. But if you have a hankering for the glaze, then that's what you're going to do. That's fine. Krispy Kreme's done well for themselves. I don't begrudge them the right to sell their inferior product to the masses. Have the lemmings line up for the stupid sign.
I think I've had post the munchkin phase, when you go to coffee and donuts or you have little, get-togethers as kids, they bring in all the munchkin boxes. Maybe 15 donuts in my lifetime since then. There's a specific type of donut that I will enjoy every once in a great while.
I'm not out getting donuts on the regular.
Yeah.
I get to a certain age where if you eat one donut, you gain 8 pounds for having one donut. It's insane. But if I'm going to,
I think the last time I had a donut might have been one of the first days at the 4-letter network that we had.
Get you a donut, Tom. Get you a donut. I mean, come on. You got to live a little.
It was a chocolate-covered donut.
I bet it was delicious.
Yeah.
Certainly better than that glazed sorriness. Listen.
I'll just have an extra bagel. That's my jam.
Yeah. But even then, you get them awfully plain. You don't get anything on the bagel.
The seasoning.
No smears, nothing. You don't do it. You do.
Give me the poppy seed, the sesame seed, the onion bagel.
You have I love this about you. Every individual has something that is obviously unique to them. And when you think of your friend groups or your family members or whatever, everybody's got something that you're like, they think that they like the Zephyr as the greatest car ever made. And it's not on anybody's list, but they love a good Zephyr when they see one. And you might laugh about that, right? But it's unique to Jerry's take on cars, whatever it might be. I've never met anybody who has a more unique stance on food than you. It was hard to get a handle on for a long time. I couldn't figure you out. For starters,
I'm an amoeba.
For starters, I used to think, well, it's the blandest. He has the blandest taste buds of anybody I know, except that you don't. You like hot things. You don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Spice.
Jalapenos and spice and all of that.
Oh, stir fry, or not even just stir fry, like good mixture of vegetables. You throw in a little bit of garlic, salt, rosemary, roast them up. Oh, man. Outstanding.
Yeah, you hate cheese and yet you love pizza. Never understood that. Then we went through the...
Well, mozzarella doesn't have any sharp flavor to it, and it's around crispy surroundings. That's the other... People who eat string cheese, I don't understand you. People who eat mac and cheese, I don't understand. It's not crispy. It's just mush. It's cheese mush. Why? I don't get it.
I'm getting asked questions about...
Give me an Italian ice over an ice cream any day.
A fresh Dunkin' is better than a Krispy Kreme. Dunkin' can be hit or miss, though. Florida man in Alabama says, let's really get Jeff's feed filled with haters. Jeff, have you ever tried red wine? With Coca-Cola, and ice?
What?
Is he talking about cherry wine? Or is he actually talking about real red wine, like the nectar of the gods being mixed with Coca-Cola? No, I have not. Now, if you're talking about cherry wine, I don't know. Maybe
also, the only Coca-Cola to drink would be Mexican Coca-Cola, the cane sugar. If you're going to have one, do it the right way in the glass bottle.
Yeah. Oh, he's saying red wine and Coke. No.
Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
That sounds like some redneck nonsense. I mean, that's what that sounds like to me.
Checks the clock, sees there's 6 minutes to go.
I'm willing to try it. I just don't want to ruin my red wine by adding soda to it. It's like, what are we doing?
You got to try that with Franzia. Don't waste the good stuff.
I appreciate the suggestion. Yeah, but you always it always would crack me up. Like, wait a minute. And then I realized some of it had to do with texture. So I had to figure out, some of the things he doesn't like has nothing to do with taste. It's texture.
It's mush. I'm not a big...
Like, you don't like yogurt.
No, sir. No.
And you don't like melted cheese. Is that texture or taste? Because there's a lot of different types.
I don't like sharp cheese flavor, but it's mostly texture. I don't like eating mush. I don't know. There's something wrong with it. I need a little bit of crisp.
If you had yogurt, you could put granola in the yogurt.
I could just have granola at that point.
Yeah, but it's just there's dry. But if you put it in
I was a kid that when I went to church on Sundays, my mom would give me a bag of Cheerios. And I just munched on the regular plain Cheerios. It was good.
Hawaii No asked, do we still need to sneak in booze in a Ziploc baggie, or do they sell it in the stadium now? Well, I know they sell beer in the stadium, but I don't know about the Ziploc baggies.
For the hard stuff?
Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah, then I
think you can get. I know you can get the hard stuff up in the Champions Club and all that stuff, right? They sell liquor for sure.
They do for sure. Yes. Yeah, you get free sodas. You just go get a shot because I think the soft drinks are free in the Champions Club.
I'm trying to think who back in the day it was an adventure to sneak alcohol into. You always had the friend who got pulled over or pulled aside. For some reason, and this is funny, so way back early 90s, I'm walking in, it's all the students, it's me and Steven, my buddy Steven and Chris Tomko, and if I had booze on me, I would separate from my buddy Tomko because he had the look of a smuggler. They always pulled him aside.
Was it nervous?
I don't,
because that would be a poor smuggler if he looked nervous.
I asked him about it one day. I said, "You're getting us popped every Saturday. You're getting us popped, man. Nobody else is over here getting dragged out. It's just you. Keep it together. We're in this together. I can only sneak in so much liquor. Same with Steven. We need your contributions for a 4-quarter game, and you're getting popped." And I can't figure it out. Are you nervous? Are you sweating? What is it? I mean, everybody that comes in here is sweating. Everybody, why are you getting singled out?
Those avoidant eyeballs.
Yeah, I don't know. It was my dad was a master. He's been a season ticket holder for over 40 years. My dad would sneak in like entire bottles of liquor.
It's because he's got a big personality. The larger the personality, the less people look. But if you're like, remember the old Felix the Cat wall clocks?
Yeah.
You're doing that thing with your eyes are going back and forth. You're screwed, man.
You got to have a guy who knows the deal.
Gregarious
Walk proud, like you're meant to be there. You're doing nothing. It's, hey, let's go. Walking right by. You've got meth on your body. Whatever. You're just rolling in.
Let's go, Knowles. To start the clap, people are like, oh, get this guy.
Get this guy. He's already high. Yeah, no, it's true. You're like, man, how is it my buddy Frank is sneaking in 8 balls of Coke and we can't get a little tiny miniature of Jack in with Chris? I'm not saying that happened, and I don't do cocaine. But the point is, I know people who do, and
you are from Tampa.
It was a wild affair back in the day, going to games in 91, 92, 93, 94. You just never knew what people in the student section were going to have. It was an illicit thing.
I knew what they were going to have in my era: sorrow, vomit, sweat.
Sorrow and anger.
Sorrow, anger,
in your
sweat.
era, yeah. Sorrow and anger.
You just hear these noises of the young ladies that were my contemporaries go like, and you're like, oh, get me out of here. Get me out of here.
The problem with the student section back in the day, I'm sure it was this way with you, it just stunk.
Yep. It stunk.
It just stunk. Everybody was stunk and drunk from the night before. Yeah. They just
you could smell like the burning secondary smoke hair, from Poor Paul's and the Irish pub.
I would imagine now, in the era we live in, Tom, if you were a student at FSU going to games, sitting there, it would smell like weed.
Probably.
It didn't in my day. I mean, people did. I mean, obviously I was well aware that, but it didn't smell that way back in the day. It smelled like old booze or beer from the night before.
Like a left out open bottle.
Yeah, just something that was awful. Occasionally you'd smell a little bit of tobacco, you're kind of like somebody smoking a cigarette.
Oh, or they're dipping.
Yeah, you can smell the dip. I was part of that. But you wouldn't, now I bet if you go to that student section, it's just weed.
And now they're, Drew, X, put in X.
So Sarah said it smells like vapes, but isn't that also weed? Isn't that all weed?
Yeah, the vape pens.
Ain't nobody over there just vaping nicotine, right? Bonus hour coming up. Hey,